Jack Smith withdraws his case like the lousy bum that we always knew he was. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. Here's my employee who's about to get sent down to the mailroom, Lester Holt.
Breaking news about President-elect Donald Trump. The Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith just filed a motion to dismiss the federal criminal case against the president-elect over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results.
That's all 4 counts gone. Jack Smith goes, I was just kidding. I didn't mean anything by it.
The news comes after NBC News learned the Justice Department had been planning to wind down its federal cases against Mr. Trump. It also comes as NBC News learned that Smith and his team plan to resign before Mr. Trump returns to the White House.
And they're gone. Run away. Run to another country, Jack Smith. Oh, and lawyer up, because you're next. We're going to get to that at the end. On the upcoming investigation, here's Van Jones back in the day saying how proud he was.
I'm actually proud of Jack Smith. Count number 4. Count number 4.
Count number 4.
Conspiracy against rights. What rights? What rights?
What rights?
The right to vote. The right to vote.
They're saying that Trump was against people's right to vote. Remember, they tried taking Trump's name off the ballot. Even now, Jamie Raskin has threatened that he would disqualify Trump, negating the entire election. We have video clips of that. Van Jones, I don't think he's so proud now, because it was what rights, what rights. Now it's what indictment, what charges, all gone.
And have your vote count in this country. So I'm proud. I'm proud that Jack Smith stood up.
Are you proud, Van? I'm proud of you. For when you get unemployed, you can come work for us in the mailroom. I'll hire you right next to Lester Holt in the In Exile mailroom.
Well, this is what we expected. I wrote over a year ago that there was a good chance Jack Smith would never see the inside of a courtroom for a trial in this case.
And we covered that on our videos too. It's been over a year now, and those videos blew up on us. So you guys have been following this from the very beginning, and including that's Turley, that we have followed the big legal theories. They're going like, what is this guy doing?
It made this election the largest effective jury verdict in history. By re-electing Donald Trump, the special counsel found himself at odds with his own department's longstanding policy against the prosecution of a sitting president.
But that didn't stop the radicals from doing it. Even though it totally went against precedent, everyone agreed it went against precedent, they still did it because they're Democrats. They have no care about tradition, rule of law. Stare decisis only counts when it's used to be held against the other side. They will forego any norms to get Trump.
But Smith did not go quietly into that night. I expected he did get a lot of different opinions, hoping for the right one. But the OLC, this office that handles such questions, has long taken this position. So it would be doubtful that they would change it here.
So those of us who followed this for a while, Office of OLC, Office of Litigation and something, we've heard the counter arguments from even within Washington lawyers, even within some of them Democrats going, you're not going to be able to do this, Jack. You're going too far. You're too liberal.
But, Smith had a sort of a gratuitous end to his term. He pushed not only for a trial before the election, but he also released damaging information before the election, something that many people saw as an effort to influence the election.
And that had nothing to do even with his lawsuits. It wasn't going to benefit him. He was dumping those redacted statements out just before the election, a month before. And Chutkan said, this goes against Chutkan said, this goes against precedents, but okay.
Smith knew that if Trump won, he was out of a job.
Well, and that also implies that if Trump lost, that Jack Smith would still have a job. And if that's our justice system, is that Jack Smith can make up charges against Trump and throw a candidate in prison if the election goes one way, but if an election goes another way, then it all gets dismissed as if no one ever committed a felony. They were never serious crimes in the first place. Oops, we're sorry. We'll make them vanish. Then that's not a justice system. Okay. Can we all just laugh at it together? at what a clown show this is.
And this release of the information was entirely unnecessary. The judge admitted that it was procedurally irregular, but she went along with it.
And that was Chutkan. She went along with it. And so she is fouled also. Her reputation is also, in hindsight, ridiculous. And she probably needs to be removed or investigated.
I think that did tarnish his position, and certainly in history, because he didn't have to do that. He had become so absolutely fixated on trying Trump before the election that he lost credibility, I think, with the courts. He went up to the Supreme Court. They didn't accept that was the overriding consideration in looking at these legal issues.
History will remember Jack Smith as a politicized radical. That's what history will remember. And that he was appointed by Merrick Garland under Joe Biden to be some kind of a strike force against a political opponent. Now, if all of those cases that were against the 2020 election where they were questioning the vote, and they all went away. It was like 60 cases. And that was somehow a proof that they were false and they were a fraud and they were made by fakers and conspiracy theorists. How much more so than all of these cases against Trump going away in an instant proves that they were all run by fakers, they were all run by fraudsters, they were all run by conspiracy theorists. Okay, now let's just get to this final tweet from Julie Kelly, who's been one of our main sources going through this whole last year. Here's the wonderful Julie Kelly on Twitter. This means both federal criminal cases against President Trump are over. This time for investigations. Now we go from defense to offense, my people. There's the actual document of Jack Smith moves to dismiss the case against Trump in Washington. And then this is the United States versus Donald Trump. There's a criminal number, the government's motion to dismiss by Jack Smith. And this just in. Look, here's Julie Kelly. It's official. Judge Tanya Chutkan grants motion to dismiss the J6 case against Trump. That's all gone now. Here's a legal release. Today's decision by the DOJ ends the unconstitutional federal cases against President Trump and is a major victory for the rule of law. And here's a final tweet from J.D. Vance. If Donald Trump had lost the election, he may very well have spent the rest of his life in prison. These prosecutions were always political. Now it's time to ensure what happened to President Trump never happens to this country again. All done. Wrap this thing up. Jack Smith, you have been discredited and history will remember you as a fraud. Many of you want to own my work and it's just in time for the shopping season. I have 2 stores. This one is for my comic book stores. This is over at Shopify called the Doug TuNapel Library. And you can get my hardbound books printed in America. They come to you in a cool shipping box that I designed myself, all of it hand-packed and the highest quality material made in America. These are hardbound books, created, written, and drawn by me. They're great for the coffee table. They're really bright, beautiful stories for the whole family. The other store is my Fourth Wall store that has my merchandise for Doug in Exile. There's t-shirts, mugs, mouse pads. You click the item, you pick the size, and you put it in your cart, and we ship it to you. There's a link in the description of every video below. Thank you for supporting my work. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.